Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Reverend Sarah Grady from St. Paul's United Church in Paris. It is springtime. I promised last week by the time we saw each other again, it would be spring, and yeah, it's here. The birds are out. My cat's going crazy in the house, just wanting to get out there and play with the birds. Yeah, spring is here and it's lovely. We can get into our parking spaces again in the church parking lot. Little things that make life feel a little bit better amidst the chaos and the pretty terrible headlines that continue to plague us. So I know we're in a bit of a complicated space right now. Lots of people are feeling a little bit helpless with things going on in Russia and Ukraine, and not really sure what to think and what to do and how to do their best and be a part of things. I have posted a couple of times. I'll repost it again if folks need the page from the United Church of Canada where we can donate money towards humanitarian efforts that are happening in Ukraine. And there's things happening around here. There's pierogi sales and things happening. We have a Ukrainian community in Brantford that is doing some stuff to lend aid. So if you're feeling a little bit helpless and like you want to do something, there are places around where you can use your hands, your feet, your voice, or simply your finances to offer some aid in this time where you may be feeling a little bit unsure what to do. On Sunday this past week, just a couple of things from worship. So the first is we are in a new phase of the pandemic in Ontario, which is after 2 full years of masking policies being in place. This is the first time where we are being told we can unmask. And that's a little bit scary for people. It's a welcome relief for other people. So 2 things around that. First is please be kind to whichever end of the spectrum people are feeling comfortable at. The second part is what I have heard from people is that for worship in our space in the sanctuary, people are most comfortable if we continue to mask during our time in worship, particularly during singing. If you have feelings other than that, if you want to talk about what we might do a little bit differently, we are happy to receive feedback. You can reach out to myself as the minister here. You can reach out to the chair of our board, Wayne Dinsmore, or you can reach out to the chair of our Reopen Task Team, Marilyn Sewell, and we will take all of the feedback that we get into consideration when we're making any decisions about changing or updating policies that have been in place throughout this pandemic. So that's it for that. On Sunday, we were talking about the parable of the fig tree. And for those who don't know that parable, it's a story that Jesus tells to remind people that they are worthy, that we don't need to throw things out just because they don't seem to be doing or growing the way we would expect them to be. So we have this parable where there's a fig tree in a vineyard, in the middle of a vineyard, and it's not producing any figs. And the vineyard owner comes and he says, get rid of that thing. It's not doing any more good here. And the gardener comes along and says, actually, I think I can make this work again. Just give me a year to do my magic, to work around with the soil and see what I can do, and hopefully it will produce figs again. Just give me some time. And it's a really interesting parable in contrast with Jesus's ministry. It's kind of going along with what he's doing at the time. And I appreciated what the Full to Brim resource talked about this week when it says, like the fig tree, you are worthy. You're not a lost cause. You're not a waste of resources. This felt like a little bit of a balm, like BALM balm, to my soul when I think about feeling pretty useless when it comes to things like helping out in Ukraine or helping people feel connected to this space that has been shut down really off and on for 2 years. So I really appreciated the words of the ladies from the Sanctified Art series that say, you deserve audacious hope, you deserve to be nurtured, and when these things happen, your fruit will come. Like the gardener, we are invited to see others with audacious hope and budding potential too. And the lesson of the fig tree is the thing that invites us to unpack the source of our worth in a system and society that often measures worthiness by all kinds of different measuring sticks, but usually it's by things like commerce or production or financial status or success or achievement. And sadly, it also measures things like your ethnicity and your gender or sexual identity. And these things, when they don't match up with what everybody else thinks that they should be, can cause us to feel unworthy and feel as though we are lost causes. So One of the questions that they have asked this week is, can the fig tree have worth even if it never produces any figs? And what does that mean for us if the answer is yes? Well, I absolutely think that the answer is yes. I don't think that there's anybody who is useless and truly unworthy of God's grace, God's love and redemption and repentance, because that's what this parable is really truly about. So what we need is to have a little patience and nurturing and audacious hope, those things that can be countercultural practices, but the things that we need to have this expansive and beautiful and rich and full life that God calls us to. I hope that somewhere in there you heard something that calls out to you, that speaks to you about ways that you can maybe think on something a little bit differently. Maybe you've heard some calls to action that have spurred you on and inspired you. Wherever you are this week, as always, I hope you're safe. I hope that you're well, and we get to see each other really soon. We'll talk to you later, friends.